All right, let's write another formal letter. This one is also from Cambridge 16. So as usual, we need to understand the scenario and then the instruction. You have just read an article in a national newspaper which claims that town centers in your country all look very similar to each other. You don't fully agree with this opinion. So that is the context, that is the scenario. Now the instruction. Write a letter to the editor of the newspaper, and in your letter, say which points in the article you agree with. Explain ways in which your town center is different from most other town centers, and offer to give a guided tour of your town to the writer of the article. You do not need to write any addresses, and you should begin your letter as follows: Dear Sir or Madam. So the opening is always given. Now let's talk about the structure. So as usual, we have an opening that is given, Dear Sir or Madam. In the first body paragraph, we write the reason. I am writing to. So it's formal, we cannot say I'm, right? Then we cover the first bullet point, which points in the article you agree with. And then we cover the second bullet point in the third body paragraph, ways in which your town center is different from most other town centers. And then in the fourth body paragraph, we cover the third bullet point. Offer to give a guided tour of your town to the writer of the article. And finally, we have the closing. As you know, for the closing, for formal letters, we can use yours sincerely and yours faithfully, but they're different, right? If we know the name of the person, we use yours sincerely, but if we don't know the name, we use yours faithfully. As in this case, we have Dear Sir or Madam. We don't know them, so we use yours faithfully, and then we add our name. So we need to cover all the bullet points and write one complete paragraph for each one. Another point, we should be very careful with the instruction. Here in the first bullet point, we have which points. So it's plural. We have to write more than one. The same is true for the second bullet point, ways in which. So there are more than one. So we should write more than one way. All right, let's begin with the first part, the reason. I'm writing to. So the reason is quite clear. You're writing to say you disagree with the point in the article. I'm writing to express my thoughts on the recent article published in your newspaper, claiming that town centers across our country are remarkably similar. That's it. You don't need to add anything else, but I prefer to make it a little bit more detailed. While I acknowledge some points raised in the article, I respectfully disagree with the overall concept and would like to provide a different perspective. So again, without the green part, your reason is good enough. You don't need to add that. So the first bullet point, which points in the article you agree with. Firstly, I agree with the article that, so that's a great way to start, and then you need to add the details. Many town centers share similarities, such as shopping malls and franchises, that give the impression of uniformity. So remember we said points, so more than one. Moreover, one can find similar restaurant chains and cafes scattered through various town centers, further reinforcing this notion. Now the second bullet point, ways in which your town center is different. However, so I want to disagree, I use however. I reside in a town with a distinct center, so I need to be specific. How is that different? It blends historic architecture and locally owned businesses, contrasting with standardized shopping malls. So again, ways, more than one. I need to add one more. Our town boasts a variety of boutiques, cafes, and cultural venues, each with its distinct personality and style. So I want to add one more. Furthermore, our historic landmarks add a layer of uniqueness that few other town centers can claim. Now the third bullet point, offer to give a guided tour. To provide a first-hand perspective on the distinctiveness of our town center, I would like to extend an invitation to the article's writer for a guided tour. So that's enough, but I prefer to be more detailed. I add one more sentence. I'm confident that a visit would offer fresh insights and a deeper appreciation of the distinctive qualities that make our town center exceptional. And then I add the closing. So remember, yours faithfully, not sincerely. This is my final draft. I have the opening. In the first body paragraph, I wrote the reason. And the second one, I covered the first bullet point. In the third one, I covered the second bullet point. And in the last one, I covered the last bullet point, and I used yours faithfully for the closing, and I signed my name. I wrote 199 words for this letter, and I organized it in 4 paragraphs. In this slide, you will find words in collocations and also phrases that you could also use in your letters. And in the next slide, you will find the points that gave cohesion to my writing. All right, hope you found it useful. Have a nice day.